Level 1, $0 saved. You're 26, somewhere flat and forgettable. Broke in the way that doesn't announce itself anymore. Not broke like no shoes. Broke like the checking account says 340 and you have 11 days left in the month. Broke like you know the exact decimal. You know the decimal because you've been watching it. That's the whole problem. You watch it and then you spend it anyway, every time. Not on nothing, on stuff. Coffee at $7 a cup you drink standing up in 4 minutes. A streaming service you opened in 2021 to watch one show. A gym membership that charges you $32 a month to feel bad about yourself from the couch. You're hemorrhaging money through 50 small holes and calling it living. And the worst part isn't the holes. It's that none of them feel like mistakes when you're making them. Level 1 lasts until the night you sit down and actually look. Not glance. Look. You pull up the last 4 months of bank statements and lay them out flat the way a doctor lays out an x-ray before explaining the fracture. There it is. Your friend Derek eats out 6 nights a week. Minimum. $40, $60, $90 a dinner with drinks. Derek has $200 in savings and a very confident personality. You've been matching him meal for meal because saying no feels like admitting something. You've been paying for a version of yourself you can't afford. The statements don't lie. They just sit there, patient and specific. Groceries, $380. Restaurants, $710. Same month, same stomach. You spent nearly twice as much eating out as eating in and couldn't tell the difference by Thursday. That's the number that cracks it open. Not the gym, not the subscriptions, the restaurants. Because you told yourself that was living. So you do something that feels violent. You open every subscription and write them down on a piece of paper. Actual paper. The ritual matters. Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Disney Plus you signed up for when they had a deal. Amazon Prime, which you tell yourself is different because shipping. Spotify, Apple Music, which you forgot existed. A meditation app you downloaded after a bad week in March. A news site you've read twice. That cloud storage you upgraded because your phone said photos weren't backing up. 11 subscriptions. 11 things auto-drafting from your account on different days like slow leaks in a basement nobody checks. Combined monthly total, $189. That's $2,268 a year for content you cycle through on a rotating guilt basis. You cancel 8 of them in one sitting. It takes 40 minutes. 40 minutes buys back $1,600 a year. You'll spend longer than that on a Sunday just choosing what to watch on the one service you kept. The groceries come next. Not in a miserable way. You aren't eating rice and suffering. You learn to shop once a week instead of every time hunger makes a decision for you. Hunger is the worst shopper you know. Hunger walks into a store and comes out with 3 bags of things that don't go together and somehow spent $80. You start with a list. Actual list. You plan 5 meals, buy what those meals need and stop. The total drops from $380 to $210 the first month. That's $170 back. Not because you stopped eating, because you stopped shopping impulsively every time you pass a display. You still eat well. Better, actually, because you're not surviving on takeout and apology snacks. The food switch alone saves you over $2,000 in a year and you don't feel it. That's the part nobody tells you. The savings that don't hurt are the ones you never notice leaving. Then the restaurants. This one requires negotiation, now with a budget, with your social life. Because restaurants aren't about food. They're about the ritual of sitting across from someone and pretending the world is fine. You aren't cutting restaurants out. You're rerouting them. Dinner at yours. 2, 3 times a month. You cook something real. People show up. Everyone brings something. Total cost for a table of 5, $60, maybe $80. Split by participation, you're spending $15 on a night that would have cost $70 minimum at the place Derek picks every time. You do the math on what that shift saves over 12 months and it's close to $1,800. Same people. Same conversation. Derek still talks about himself the entire time. But you're not paying restaurant markup for the privilege. Level 2. The savings account with a name. Not just savings, a specific name. A number. $20,000. You open a high-yield account at a bank you don't have a debit card for. That distance is the whole strategy. Money you can see in the same app you spend from is money you will spend. Money you have to log into somewhere else and wait 2 days to transfer is money that stays. You set up an automatic transfer. $500 every payday. Before anything else moves, before rent feels scary, and before Derek texts about the new place that opened downtown, it goes automatically. You don't decide. Decision is where good intentions go to negotiate themselves down to nothing. The auto transfer removes the decision. You never see the $500 leave and you never feel it go. What you feel instead, about 6 weeks in, is the account balance doing something it has never done before. Growing while you're not looking. $500 a paycheck is $1,000 a month. $12,000 in a year if nothing breaks. Something will break. Tires. A dental thing. The month your laptop dies during a project and the repair costs $400 you don't want to touch savings for. Fine. You have the emergency fund for that because you built it first. Small. Just $1,500 sitting separately doing nothing dramatic. It's a firewall. Every unexpected expense that used to destroy a savings attempt hits the firewall instead. The savings account doesn't see it. The savings account just keeps growing. This is the part people skip. They save and spend from the same place and then wonder why the number never moves. The structure isn't glamorous. Neither is a seatbelt. But you're glad it's there when the car stops fast. The social pressure is real. Don't let anyone tell you it isn't. Derek notices. Not that you're saving. Derek doesn't know what you're saving. He notices you say no more. No to the bar with the $18 cocktails. No to the weekend trip that somehow always costs $400 more than the original estimate. No to the group dinner where the minimum you're walking out spending is $90 before tip. You say no and he looks at you like you've developed a personality disorder. You broke. He doesn't say it. He doesn't have to. The look says it. You used to match his pace and now you don't, and the gap is suddenly visible. That's what the look is about. Not your bank account. His comfort. Here's what Derek doesn't know. Derek makes $12,000 more a year than you. Derek has $200 in savings and a new watch. You know this because Derek told you both things at different times without realizing they were related. Derek believes the watch is an investment. Derek will believe this until he needs the $200 and it isn't there. You've seen this movie before. You know how it ends. Not with judgment, with recognition. You used to be Derek. You were Derek for 4 years before the bank statements. The only difference now is the paper and the 40 minutes and the willingness to feel weird at dinner for a few months while the account grows. The fun question comes up every time you explain this to someone. Wait, so you just stopped doing things? No, you didn't stop doing things. You stopped paying full price for the feeling those things were supposed to give you. You still go out, still travel twice that year, still buy things you want. You just wait 30 days first. Most of the time, by day 30, you don't want it anymore. The wanting was the event. The buying was just the receipt. You still go to concerts, still eat at good restaurants sometimes, still take the trip. You just stop filling every idle Tuesday with $40 worth of stuff that's gone by Wednesday and doesn't leave anything behind. Level 3. The income side. Cutting expenses gets you to $12,000. The rest comes from somewhere else. You pick up one extra thing. Freelance work. A side project. Saturdays spent doing something you're already good at for someone who will pay you. This isn't a passion narrative. You aren't chasing a dream. You're filling a specific gap between what the budget saves and what the goal needs. 6 hours a week, sometimes 8. You treat it like a second job because that's what it is. The money goes directly into the savings account, not into checking, never into checking, into the account with no debit card. You make $650 one month, $800 the next. Not every month is the same, but every dollar from that work goes exactly one place. The extra income stacks on top of the automatic transfers. By month 5, you have $7,400. By month 8, you're looking at $13,000. Something shifts at $10,000. It's not a feeling you expected. It's not relief. It's anger. Specifically, anger at how long this same money just sat there inside expenses you didn't need. How many years you walked past this same $10,000 and spent it on subscriptions and impulse dinners and buying rounds for people who didn't notice. The anger is useful. You don't spiral in it. You use it the way you use a hard workout. Briefly, with intention. Then you leave. Month 10, you're at $17,200. Close enough to smell. Nobody knows the number. But something reads differently in the way you carry things. Less urgency. Less tightening when a bill arrives. Less checking the decimal at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. You sleep differently at this amount. Not rich person sleep. Just sleep without the background frequency of financial anxiety running underneath all night, like a refrigerator hum you've stopped noticing but still hear. You didn't know it was there until it wasn't. There's a family gathering in month 11. Your aunt makes a comment. Must be nice not to worry about money. She says it the way people say things they want to be a joke and also mean entirely. You didn't tell her you weren't worrying. She read it off your posture. You bring real food this time. Something you actually cooked. The aunt who made the comment eats 2 plates and doesn't say anything else. That's about as close to acknowledgement as this family gets. You take it. Then there's the moment nobody prepares you for. Month 12. You log into the account and the number is $20,400. You sit there for a second. Just sit. You were expecting something to happen. Some signal. A door to open or a voice to say something official. Nothing happens. The number just sits there. Same font as every other number. $20,400 in an account you built one automated transfer and one refused dinner invitation at a time. You take a screenshot. Not to post it, just to have it. Proof you existed at the bottom of this and climbed out without cutting the things that made the climb worth making. What $20,000 actually means isn't the number. The number is not the point. The point is the first time something breaks and you don't panic. The car needs tires, $800. You move the money over and feel almost nothing. Not nothing, nothing. You feel it, but you feel it the way you feel weather. Present, acknowledged, and then past. Not catastrophic. Not 3 days of lying awake running math on worst cases. It happened, you handled it, and the account still has $19,600, and you'll rebuild the $800 by next month. Freedom isn't the big number. Freedom is the moment an $800 problem stops being an $800 emergency. Derek still goes out 6 nights a week. He texts you about the new place almost every Friday. Some Fridays you go, some Fridays you don't. Either way, you're not going because you need the feeling of going. You're going because you want to, which turns out to be a completely different reason that costs significantly less. He still has the watch, still has $200 in savings, and total confidence in it as an investment. You don't say anything. There's nothing to say. Some people need to run the bank statement moment themselves before any of this makes sense. You weren't going to be talked out of Derek before the statements. Nobody talks Derek out of Derek without them. The thing you carry around isn't a ticket. It's the number from month 1. The month where you laid the statements out flat and the restaurants were $710 and you just sat with that for a while. You could have closed the app and decided the math was too embarrassing to look at directly. You didn't. You printed the page. You still have it, folded in the back of the notebook where you wrote down 11 subscriptions and started crossing them off. Evidence, not framed on a desk, just folded, available when you need to remember what it looked like before you looked at it. The account sits at $20,400. You set a new number, you open a new account, you name it, you set the transfer, same system as before, except the automatic amount goes up because now you know the mechanism holds. You put the notebook back in the drawer. A year ago, you thought saving $20,000 would require a better job, a bigger paycheck, or some lucky break. It didn't. It required one uncomfortable evening with your bank statements, one decision to stop pretending, one subscription canceled, one dinner you cooked instead of buying, one automatic transfer that kept happening whether you felt motivated or not. That's the part people miss. Wealth almost never arrives all at once. It shows up quietly, disguised as ordinary decisions repeated long enough that they become your life. The $20,000 was never the victory. The victory was becoming the kind of person who could build it. Because once you learn that process, the number stops mattering. 20,000 becomes 50,000. 50,000 becomes 100,000. 100,000 becomes financial independence. Not because the math changed, because you did. Somewhere in a drawer, there's still a folded bank statement from the month everything changed. Restaurants, $710, 11 subscriptions, $340 left in checking with 11 days to go. You don't keep it because you're ashamed. You keep it because it's proof that your future wasn't determined by how much you earned. It was determined by the day you finally chose to pay attention. If you ever feel like building wealth is impossible, remember this. No one wakes up financially free. They wake up one ordinary Tuesday, make one better decision than they made yesterday, and then they do it again tomorrow. That's how wealth is built. Not through one massive breakthrough, not through one lucky investment, not through one promotion, through hundreds of ordinary decisions that nobody else ever sees. One meal cooked at home, one purchase you decided to wait on, one automatic transfer, one invitation you politely declined, one extra hour spent earning instead of spending. Eventually, those decisions stop feeling like sacrifices. They become habits, and habits become a life that no longer revolves around wondering if you'll have enough. The account balance is only a reflection of something much bigger, a person who finally chose long-term freedom over short-term comfort. Because the greatest investment you ever make isn't the money sitting in your savings account. It's becoming someone who understands that wealth isn't built in one extraordinary moment. It's built in thousands of ordinary ones. One decision, one day, 1 month, 1 year. Until one morning you look at the life you've built and realize the goal was never $20,000. The goal was becoming someone who never has to start over again. Because fortunes aren't built overnight.